between, and welcome back to SuperFancom. It's 2020, and it's our Season 3 premiere. This episode is Convention Do's and Don'ts. I'm Retro Rick, and I'm joined by our newest cast member, Recicup, along with returning is Rodney Brown from Nerd Caliber. Also, I'm joined by Rick Glass, and somewhere around is Henry. Welcome everyone. Now, before we start our topic, Mr. Glass, I think you have some info you'd like to share with us.
I'm not going to mention specifically. There's an article that came out very recently on. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, and if I can't, but there was an article that people are sharing over the past 48 hours, basically talking about how different conventions institute a ban on the dreaded ass clothing, and I probably butchered that pronunciation. I was wondering what you thought of it.
And what is the...
Well, you don't do visuals on this podcast.
Yeah. It's the...
Basically, for the audience's
face.
reference. Yeah, orgasm faces. Exactly.
The anime with the tongue hanging out.
Back in the 80s face.
Yes, basically. Shows you can swear as much as you like. Thank you for that. Yeah, how do you or do not care?
I'm honestly for it, because I was in line for tickets. There's literally a group of people wearing full-fledged outfits of it. I'm just like, for the band, because it's just at the same time.
I'm same shirt, the pants actually, and yeah, who cares? I have absolutely no problem with anybody wearing that in anything other than a situation where kids can be around. Absolutely have no problem with conventions saying, "Hey, kids will be around," so no.
Right.
Yeah. Conventions. Why you can either do people escape the real world, try to get noticed in some places, hook up.
Yeah, I really don't want to bring him up.
We probably will eventually.
Yeah, like you said, I'd rather not
yeah, I know.
Bring attention.
I know. Be with fellow especially with the con season starting up as of 2020, because we're just coming into the new year, and it's basically mature. And like Stanley said about comics, every con is someone's first con, so they might not know all the rules. So do the don'ts. I'll go first. I have a couple. If you want to chime in, be my guest. Booze. Don't wear like new shoes, open-toed shoes, unless it's part of your cosplay. Nobody wants to smell your feet. Yeah, true.
Wish that guy does. If a really short notes. I'm part of a group. Let's just say repeat offenders at different cons, and one of these guys we track is this guy named and he loves feet, and he hates consent.
Yeet. Alright, basically, you'll be walking about 4 to 10 miles per day, depending on the convention, new shoes that you just bought because they'll hurt your feet. Also, just for a room, a hotel room, have $2 for the maid service, because everyone at least leave $2 now, which is what I do. Con rules, in fact, before con games. So you know, like, plan to bring as many possible. Eating out every night drains your money. Save your money, bring things like breakfast bowls, drinkable soups, non-refrigeratable drinks. Don't have a mini fridge in your room. Buy a protein bar, an actual meal, and drink lots of water.
So if we're talking about advice like that, top of the hydrate will help with an awful lot of the help your feet sink less. They will help your BO not be as bad. Hydrating is good for literally everything you can do.
Yeah.
When you're in your otherwise clear liquid flask. I get that there's really anything wrong with it, but that's not going to do you any good as far as
Right.
That's pretty much it. Other than what you've said, most of the time at cons, simply because it's sort of a mini vacation. Even though I'm working every con, and if I can afford, I don't mind doing the whole eating out most of the time. But realistically, your money, if you 2% of your meals with you. Because
compared to what used to be.
Oh yeah, just to give an example, so I was at MagFest this year. I full stupid, and I think I ended up blowing like $400 just on many reasons I'd rather not blow. Yeah, I realized.
Very expensive.
Yeah, although I got to say the gay hotel of MagFest, gay resort in National Harbor, Maryland, the is no more expensive really than any other place. I mean, the bar drinks are stupid expensive. The Boston waterfront, which is where I was.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit biased because I don't know if the viewers are.
And all the buffets and yeah.
I try to avoid, as a not a native but a local. I try to avoid casinos unless I'm.
That's understandable.
For however, the most important thing I've learned is con funk when it's just.
Yeah, we'll get into that very soon.
Yeah, it just seems like nobody likes to wear deodorant or shower, just anything. That's honestly my biggest pet peeve about cons. But other than that, I would say always bring outfits, have bobby pins, have comfortable shoes. Just always bring backup stuff because you never know what can happen at a con.
Yeah, sometimes you'll actually have people in the dealer room who give soap away. I remember some at Henry battleships had a little bowl of soap that they would hand out to people just randomly.
That's cool.
Henry, what about you?
So I've been going to cons for 50 years, and so when you go to conventions, people go to conventions. There's 3 types of people who generally go to conventions. 3 types. So type 1 who, all of us, we'll get a hotel room, we'll stay for the weekend, we'll, whatever, right? Type 2, you got the, the local people, they can't go to this convention, I can't afford a hotel, and, they go and they have a great time, and, when get late, they take the train home, and they go home, take a cab, and they just go back home, and, then they go the next day, or they'll drive an hour away, whatever. And then there's type 3, go there, they don't have a room to stay in, and they don't leave. They'll either sleep in the hallway or be in they just won't, and the thing is though, they won't bathe.
Yeah.
And they'll just rely on freebies from people they meet at the convention. Be maybe so and so let me stay in their room or something. And there was one convention I went to, it was maybe I don't know how long it was, but it was a while ago, but I remember the hot tub near the pool was closed and it looked like it was full of brown water. And it was, so come to find out, but soap across the street, the supermarket, everybody needs a hot tub as their bathtub.
No.
That's awful.
Why?
Not okay.
So, and then this is also the same, this is the last year that convention had their late night dance. And it's that, it wasn't that BO, chicken noodle soup smell. It was maldehyde, fungus sort of smell. And that it penetrated 2 floors. There was the floor that the dance was on, and then there was the lobby area. People were checking out, and everyone's walking in their, flight to France, and they're holding their nose, being oui, oui, pu, So yeah, it's just type 3 is type 3 is a problem. They go there, they don't really have any intention of they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna send that shot, normal human being at night. That's one of them.
I got a story like that from PAX.
Ooh,
about
Washington, I think.
PAX.
Which PAX? 2015. That was the year that
PAX.
PAX East.
Okay.
Which was that?
What's that?
The one
it was the one in Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, about that one. Okay.
But now I remember I was at AB that same
ago. That was, I believe, 2008 or 2009.
No, they had another
2014.
One. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, 2015 was last year I enforced PAX, and there was an after party at the Royale, and DJ for the entire dance floor was basically one entire block of human flesh. White dudes and randos didn't know how to dance to, and not moving around at all. But when you went to it, smelled like Nurdles rot.
Yeah.
That's the kind of EDM that you throw your body into. It's almost like a metal concert. You mosh to that. And they're free drink and just stare at this bad.
Well, I don't really do in dances or the R word as our friendly neighborhood Petacon likes us to say.
I love a good rave. It's just tons for the money. Don't throw a good rave.
I think Christopher Nolan's on there.
I have no idea.
Are we in
The only rave is in your dream.
Conventions didn't want the dance to be called a rave.
Yeah.
drugs?
Yeah.
Drugs. So get back to the types of people. The problem with what we're doing here is that's particularly about what advice we give or what we say. It's they are the problem and they can't be solved. Right. So it's fun. There may be some people some value out of what we're advising here, but the worst offenders, it's not going to matter whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I had a huge blow up familiar with SakuraCon, but last year there was a guy who was getting particularly angry in the one social group that can't afford hygiene products and wouldn't take, well then maybe you shouldn't go to a con, as an answer, and that is very indicative of the type of group number 3, who believe that it is their birthright to show up this con and basically mooch off of everyone that can actually afford it.
Well, make me wish DL Peterkin was on this chat.
Oh yeah, Mr. Stink Patrol himself, brother.
Because there is a reason there is Stink Patrol.
Yeah, that was a very similar conversation happened.
I still
somebody
have that.
came out and said the same thing. Oh, you don't understand. I just can't afford this, or it's
a societal pressure. They say
their argument was that it was basically a class thing, essentially. Like, really?
No, I personally believe in some pretty left-leaning and no, wash your ass.
Yeah, floss and brush your tongue because you're going to be meeting a lot of people.
Right.
And hydrate, and bring them in.
Yeah, bring in a little thing of mints because you are meeting people during the day. Always brush your teeth before you leave, then you can bring your mints. Let's see. For media people, bring. The Wi-Fi might be limited since cons are going bigger, so or sell to USB laptop method. Haggle with better price. You can, especially on a Sunday. Bring always, or the Wi-Fi is down and swear does not work. Because
here's a little cash hint. If you are at a con where you can get to any kind of a supermarket, because it doesn't cost you anything, unlike the $5 charges in the ATMs.
Yep.
Smart.
Yeah. Also, haggle with the vendors. You can catch them on the early time of the con, but because they have to pay to bring that stuff back. They want to bring all that stuff back, so they want their merch gone. Do make sure you know the people you are rooming with. Or if you have people invite other people, make sure they know the people they're being. Also, for me, I like to know if it's uncomfortable with being if someone has sleep apnea, I need to know I won't get any sleep at night. Story. Like AB 2014, I had this rather in the room. He brings a queen size sleeping mattress.
Oh, what?
Yeah, a queen. Yes, for the regular AB room, not that big. Yeah, apnea. She got any sleep for 3 days. Also, he would occasionally sit and realizing he sat down, and I was rambling, and they started puffing on he says, and I was like, what are you doing? Always make sure you always know who's in your room.
Yeah, whenever I go to hotels or whatever, besides my bathroom stuff, I usually just keep everything in my in one place, so I don't have to worry about losing it or anything.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It just makes it easier for me.
I don't really know anyone who drawers, except for maybe every once in a while people actually use drawers.
Right.
Yeah,
okay, I'm raising my hand.
I have this gigantic duffel bag that's twice the size of a normal duffel bag. It's a limit bag. I got it in the Army. And just trying to fish for stuff out of that just makes me look like an anime character. I can't do it. I have to completely unpack.
And I use the opposite reason. That's where I throw my dirty laundry. So I don't worry about using the stuff that's in my suitcase. I don't worry about any cross, and then at the end of my hotel stay, I just throw it in the suitcase and we're off.
That's
a good idea, actually.
That is a good idea.
I never use the drawers in hotels ever again.
Dirty, but
yeah.
So I get my time for okay. Well, going completely off the cuff, let me just say that this bit of speech is brought to you by Four Loko. But otherwise, let's see. As a security guy, it is my duty to say that you should follow the 2-6 rule. So 2 meals a day. What was the one? Oh, 1 shower a day. 2 meals, 6 hours of sleep. I think that's it. Oh man, I'm completely off the rails because in my extracurricular activities, let's just say that my whole job is ensure that adult entertainment is safe. So the biggest one when it comes, quote unquote, understand your fucking limits. Okay, so getting real emotional. Maybe only do 2 at the hotel party. Understand that maybe some recreational substances that may be of hot debate in this country are things that make you have a panic attack. Maybe don't take them. Let me see. And anything else? Well, the questionable legality, as we're on a PG-13 podcast, let me just say, check Arrowwood. That's the best way to understand your words. Just check Arrowwood.
Wow.
Let's see. What else? Yes, please. Hygiene. Oh yeah, another one. Make sure that you're packing what you need. I know that's kind of know how heavy your bag is. Carrying that around a little bit. You know?
Very good.
I'm buzzing a little bit here. I'm trying to make sure that I get everything out, and I don't tread all over anyone else. Does anyone else have any thoughts?
I say, as somebody who is very first as a photographer at Con for that book, his battery and his SD card. Yeah, make sure you pack.
Oh, not the SD card.
Yeah, I mean they were both a little at like a local CVS for $5, pay for it anywhere else, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
That was really an embarrassing. So yeah, pack right.
Oh yeah, that brings me to another one. Cosplay repair stations are not just for cosplays. Utilize them. The people that run those repair stations, they lift fabrics, gillinging. That happened to me at Madfest this year. My pair of camo pants have all these really edgy patches. Ripped the crotch clean out. I was in New Jersey. Gave it to the guy who was running the machine. He was like, "Ooh, a challenge! I love it." And he fixed them right up.
Hey everyone, this is Retro Rick, just for the ad break. Welcome back to Season 3 of Super Fancom. I apologize for the audio hiccups. I don't know what happened during the record. I hope you're still listening, and if you are, you're hearing this, which is the ad break. If you'd like to help us keep the lights on and keep going with this show and stop hiccups like these, check out our affiliates, like JLS.com, where you can get some cool things from Japan, like cosplay, candy, music, and more. Use our promo code to get 10% off your order. The GreenTeaHouse, home of all natural herbal teas. The Kawaii Box, where you can get a monthly box from Japan of cute keychains, stuffed animals, and more. Things from another world. Your home for DC and Marvel Comics, Funko Pops, and more. Humble Bundle, where you can get great deals on video games like Disco Elysium, Darksiders Genesis, and Devil May Cry 5. Or if you don't want to do that and you'd like to help out our show in general, we have a Patreon. We can get great deals and cool rewards, all for the low price of $1 a month. That's lower than a cup of coffee. Or if you want, we have a coffee page and a PayPal page if you just want to help out the show. If you just want to help out the show, thank you. All these links in the description box below. I return you to our show already recorded in progress. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, do and exits are located in the convention, just in case.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, that's easy stuff. That's kindergarten.
Well, for some people that have never been to a convention, do a walk around.
And the easiest way to look at it, and this is someone who actually in security professionally, generally, state and local statutes apply, but if you see a red exit sign, it'll send you outdoors. If you see a green exit sign, that means it'll take you out of the room.
Right.
Of course, that's not a hard and fast rule, but that's a general rule, depending on which state you're in. Also, they've run with basic stuff. One of the big things that they always tell us is the securement, but does also play very heavily into what the attendee deals with. The convention venues are so extremely crowded, especially at the big ones. You're better off, if there is an emergency, getting someone from either venue security or convention security to handle a medical or just general emergency, because they'll actually know where to, or should know, they'll know where to send the ambulance or whatever. If you just dial 911 and scream into the phone, first of all, the dispatch operator's probably going to be a dick to you. Second of all, they're just going to send them to the front door, and they're not going to know what's going on in 20, 30 minutes.
Right. Like, for people like me who run panels, do panel prep. Your time to make sure you have everything, make sure everything works. It also allows you to back up to your room, especially if you're not really working well, like if you're ever at Anime Boston during a make up and you have a panel later, make sure everything's working, like I said, for your panel. Or if you're at another hotel, make sure you leave yourself plenty of time to everything working. Also, if you're going to panels, depending on what type of panel it is, show up at least 40 to 50 minutes before if it's a panel you really want to go to, and if it's like a famous celebrity running a panel ahead of time, so you can get a good seat and you're not asked to leave because it's a fire hazard. Because I've had a few panels that have turned into fire hazards, and they have cut people off from going in. Because I remember. Go ahead.
I got one. Make sure you're for your panel.
Unless it's a late night one.
So go to
the hacker convention.
It's number. The first one's Black Hat. That's about $1,000 to get into that one. Your company has something there. B-Sides, which is the one where the actual work takes place, and then DEF CON, where everybody, let's just say just parties. And I was at DEF CON, and I was supposed to give a Sky Talk on horror stories, and I was, let's just say, inebriated on various panic.
Oh no.
So, not related to nerd conventions, but about that and I won't name names. We had a particular large regional meeting in a various hotel in Washington, D.C., and before all of the panels and presentations were supposed to start, a whole bunch of us, and myself included, broke into the hospitality suite and got absolutely hammered off our minds. And I was one of the few, including about half of the starting panel, which was about cybersecurity of all things. So it would have been really interesting, except half of them didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
Because they were literally so hungover that I only think 1 out of these 6 people got fired, which was kind of amazing.
Wow. Henry, got any stories to share?
What was that directed to me?
Yeah, have any stories to share? We'll get into like fun cons and horror stories later if you want.
Well, we're still. I believe we're still on the positive side of things. I'm also trying to get my Bluetooth speaker to actually hear you guys.
I'll jump in while you're working on that. And this is a really interesting category. Attendees, respect the staff of the respect the guests, respect the other people that are in that physical scene. You can imagine that as respect. They tell our nerd caliber photographers that if I see you taking a picture in a walkway in a dealer's room, I will pull you out of that walkway. If you do it again, you won't go to another convention. Just don't do it. Don't stop in the middle of a walk. Don't jump lines. Don't you just be respectful. Just be respectful.
I'm positive.
Okay.
To preface this, the moral of the story I'm about to tell is do not trust these book social pages as like your number one and only source of information on anything. So the reason why I'm saying that is back in 2015, I want to say, there was some drama going on with a pretty infamous hotel party group called 1449. It doesn't really fit the context. At the height of this drama, someone, don't know who because it was a fake account, but they decided to the Anime Boston social they were the head of operations, and that they were declaring that everyone 1449 were criminals, and that if you saw somebody that you suspected to be part of this group, that you were to report them to consequences. And when people from staff, without announcing that they were part of staff, which is a no-no, unless you're part of the PR team, try to say, hey, this isn't the head of Operation Anime Boston, it's this person. They went with some pretty harsh, like, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah. Yeah, if you want, reliable information on what's going on at the con, always refer back to the actual website or the official social pages of the con. I mean, there are obvious exceptions to that, again, which I'm not going to name by name,
Right.
but you'll figure it out pretty quickly who retains poor volunteers.
That's right. Let's see. All right, because this will be fun. This was brought to me by a friend of the cat who's been on a couple, who works at Anime Midwest, I think. Don't tell guests that they're better than other guests. Don't harass guests. Don't agree with something said. Or also, in light of recent events, don't harass the guests over something they said online, or something that they agree that you hate, or a version. Yep. Don't ask voice actor to voice actor, or
Listen to my demo tape, guys.
Check out my mixtape.
don't ask plotty questions. They don't really matter. You'll just end up like a jackass for asking it.
Potty questions?
Yeah, plot go on forever.
Ah.
The potty questions. Like,
Wow.
after activity.
Well, depending on the panel, you can ask potty questions, especially if you're in a panel with J. Michael Tatum at night. Let's see.
Old meme.
Resist asking the dumb questions. Ask something original. Don't try to get in Don't get in good with a guest, thinking it'll make you famous. For me, like, ask something like no one would, like, a guest wouldn't expect. Like, when I got to meet Walter Jones, aka the Black Ranger from Power Rangers. The first thing I told him was, "Were you on the old Nickelodeon show Space Cases?" And he perked right up, and we started just talking.
Yeah, dude, Walter Jones is probably like the chillest security for. So the time I did security for DerpyCon, and he was the only bright spot.
Yeah, I got to meet Red Brown, the original Captain America, and like somebody of mine was talking to him about like his old movies, and we were just talking to him for about an hour and a half. And also, if you see like a guest like is like totally alone, because I did this with Robert Axelrod a couple times when I would pass by him, and nobody messaged you for being here, and he would just put a smile on his face. So if you can, always like ask for being there if they're not being bothered, or if you can work up the nerve to talk to one of the guests. Don't be that person who passes out at a con and
What?
don't be the person who passes out at a con.
Oh, that's pretty easy. I mean,
You would think so.
yeah, I would because I'm Mr. Convention Man, but still.
To make sure we're talking about self-induced as opposed to medical condition.
Yeah.
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 Don't be that. If it's medical condition, bro, what's going on here?
Don't always rely on the con apps because they don't always get updated, or if you're like Con, don't ever work. Yours might not work on the con floor. Especially if you have a panel you really want to go to, don't always rely on the con app. If they have a physical one, unlike Kineticon, check that before you do that in your room, so you're not like cluttering up the walkway. If you see like a staffer, ask them if they know where the panel that you're looking for. Let's see. If it's like a guest or a concert you're going to, plan ahead. Don't be afraid to set stuff out and wander around. I personally check if it's a con I've never been to. I always check it before I like do anything. Like I'll wander around a con, check the dealer's room, just to see what this con is like before I go like, they might be allowed.
Yeah, I do that too.
If I can go back to the thing, I mean, a lot of it can just be boiled to realizing that what you have with that guest is what is known as a parasocial relationship.
Right.
And you need to understand the difference between a normal platonic, but a normal relationship and a parasocial relationship. If you don't know the term that I'm talking about, Google's your friend. But basically, the idea being that it is a one-sided thing. This person don't know you from a fucking hole in the wall. You need to go into the talking with the person knowing that, so that you don't get disappointed, or you don't get the anxiety from what if
right.
He doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one con, then maybe.
Yeah.
Done security for Vic Mignogna once, again at a con I'm not going to disclose, and Jesus Christ, his fans.
Oh, I know.
I already dumped water on like staff, like that person.
I believe it.
Near Poland Springs, and he dumped on the girl's head and was like, "This ain't period."
Oh,
You shitting me, guy?
Yeah, there's enough awful stories about him that just generic crappy bad behavior probably doesn't even need to be brought up.
I mean, I was at Rhode Island Comic Con. I was at the Doctor Who panel for I think Tom Baker, who was there, and Vic just like randomly comes and hugs him.
Well, he is a hugger,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
In more ways than one. The time that I was handling him, I was wearing. I tend to punk, so I had camo shorts on with like various metal band patches on them, and I think I had a Behemoth shirt on, and then on top the furry green bear hat on. He says, "You're creepy." And the dude's got dead 1,000-yard stare eyes like a goddamn son, and he's saying, "I look creepy." All right, bro. All right.
Yeah.
It's kind of an insult to Rob Lowe, but yeah.
He looks like Rob Lowe did in the 80s. Where the host had talked about meeting Bruce Campbell at a release of Evil Dead 2. Other than meeting me, what was the best fan interaction you ever...
podcast?
Nice.
That's an odd question.
Oh yeah, fans will ask some of the dumbest questions that they think is get them a cheap pop with crowd, or they want reaction number 2, then tell them to shut the fuck up. And
just the fawning over some of these people, and and of course, I mean, when I see this, I'm extremely jaded. Job for the past 6 years, up until very recently, has been as a stagehand. So after about the first dozen times, the shine wears off, and you're just like, okay, can you leave me alone? I'm trying to set up that, or can you leave me alone? I'm trying to get your costumes into the goddamn dressing room.
Okay. Henry, why don't you start with some don'ts?
Don'ts?
Yeah.
Alright, don't call it a rave. I get it. They're playing techno music. People bust out glow sticks. You want to call it a rave, but just don't. If anything, it's a disco. It's a disco, okay? The problem is that, you get people talking about the quote-unquote rave online, be like, oh my god, the rave for this convention's so fun! And then, overnight, place turns into a fucking party monster. I was outside having a cigarette, and like there was this like being serious. Like the more you call it a rave, the more it will become one. Where's I didn't know the area. This is like in freaking Seattle. I was like,
oh, okay.
Like,
I mean, if I can interject, I think that that's more of a rule for the staff than the people who actually go. You can't control the behavior of attendees. You can only react to it. So they want to call it a rave. Let them call it. That's their own personal prerogative. They're just talking out. You're just shooting off at the mouth and calling it a rave. Well, then that's when bad PR comes in. You know, you could not have a rave the next year. I totally agree with that.
so they actually censored it and just called it dance.
Yeah. Plus again, this is my jaded self interjecting. I mean, these raves are just the guidings most of the time, throwing on a bunch of oldie techno standards that are all and just constant 120m, and half the time it ain't even for. You really call it a rave? Really? Nah. I mean, I've been zooted out of my mind on coke at a rave in Williamsburg in the face because the mosh pit got too bad. An actual rave. Con raves. Channeling my inner Doug.
And I went to a few times, and you know, like to me, con raves were like when I was like younger, first with the cons. Like I went to go check it out. Like, oh, it's the dancer was talking about. I'm gonna check it out, and I'm like, I don't dance. It was great, but dance into like, you know, Party Monster.
Yeah, like the early days of anime Boston.
Yeah,
like when Brad Swale helped DJ.
Oh, it was really fun. 2009. When one of the dudes who got caught putting up the light bright signs for the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie, he ended up in Boston.
Nice.
That was amazing. He actually used news clips from him getting arrested and the press conference afterwards. For
And one last thing, didn't mean to interject.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Just like in my last do and don't out there, max capacity is 4 people. Don't go over it. It seems like a good way to save money, but there's no price you can put on comfort.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and plus the HVAC systems in most of these hotel rooms can't handle more than 6, 7. Body heat starts just like jacking up the temperature of the room. Like I've been to like -17 outside because it's January in Boston room because they still think it's 1987.
As the resident boomer in this crowd, I stay in a room by myself. I'm a grumpy.
I prefer it.
Do you have to say on the subject of dances or raves? Somebody who I'm particularly fond of, and I will defend to the death, because he's also kind of a personal friend of mine, but not really. It's kind of weird. If anybody knows who W.T. Sachs was,
Nope.
Not ringing a bell.
Chan lore, but he now goes by the DJ name SQ Dulce, and he is a damn good DJ. If you want to throw like a proper quote unquote dance at your con.
Nice. Reese, you're kind of the newbie of conventions. What are some of your don't like you would say to someone?
Well, going back to the room thing, I did stay at a con last year. It was a room, and me and my friends slept on the mattress, and I slept right next to the AC. Now, mind you, I am anemic, so me sleeping next to the AC was not a fun time.
Oh no.
And I had a super fit, so I was suffering every time I went to bed. So I would go to bed at like 3 a.m. on purpose, just so I wouldn't be cold, and just so I can leave the room.
Oh damn.
And normally, I need to function right. You know, I'm like, 4 or 5 hours is good. I'll be fine. I'll just worry about it later. So, yeah, do not open. And then, like, it's more likely to get things lost in there, overstuff your room, because everybody's things gets mixed up and whatnot. So, yeah, if you can avoid overstuffing the room, I would suggest doing so, because it's just...
Do tell your roommates what your needs are.
Absolutely.
And I understand that can be tough for people, particularly when you're in a room with all sorts of new people that you don't know. But that's not how I can sleep. So that would be my do.
Oh yeah. Make sure everyone gets like make anyone like have a bad time. Make sure everyone's getting along.
Yeah, like everyone was cool. Like I only knew my friend, but she knew the other people. They were all cool or whatever. But since they all had it established way beforehand, and then we just ended up tagging along at the end of it, it was like I didn't really feel right asking for a bed when they were first. So it was like, okay, I'll deal with this for like a few days. But it's like, if it was something where we all planned it at the same time, then I'll definitely be like, hey, keep me away from the AC all night. But this was like one exception. I dealt with it. It wasn't a big deal. I was fine, especially since I drank some, so that warmed me up a little bit. But yeah, I was pretty okay. But yeah, I would speak my needs out, because other than that, I'm pretty okay. Like a needy person, it's like, hey, I only need to shower for like 5 minutes and I'm out, and you're good. So be considerate of other people in my room too. Like, hey, if you need anything, I probably got everything. Human Swiss, you need something, I got it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it on that.
Henry, Henry, I think you know what I'm talking about. You're going to finish food before you take it.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't ring a bell, but
Anime Boston, a few years back, we had someone in the room that ate something that didn't belong to them.
Yes, I've tried to forget that year, but
I'm sorry. I know that year was not great.
So again, if you when you go into a convention and your friends, be prepared. Bring your own shit. Don't be. If you can't afford to go, can't afford to go. You can pay the entry fee, and you can't afford the longevity. Don't go.
Right.
Make it easy, or just go home. There you go.
I think a lot of this conversation can be boiled down to, if you don't, then you're not. Don't go.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I used to save up freaking for a year before I would go, just to make sure I had everything covered. Because you never know. There's also emergency expenses, like, what if, God forbid, you get sick or something, or, you get medicine.
Yep.
If I can add to the do list, do bring earplugs, and I'll tell you why. So again, because of the curricular activities, as far as like handling various dramas, there's obviously a lot of people who just don't like certain people that run room parties. So you can't really handle that sort of thing, but I think if we all con, and the amount of hotel parties that aren't really bothering anybody, they're just kind of loud and they're down for no reason, I think that number is going to go down if you just wear some earplugs.
But what if it gives me an ear infection?
Bring rubbing alcohol.
I don't like earplugs.
Get better earplugs.
They don't make me feel
Either that or some get some really nice industrial shooting.
How dare you assume I have ears?
No, let's take a
Cool, motherfucker.
NyQuil Jello Shots, yep.
Oh yeah, NyQuil is your best friend.
But how dare you assume I even have ears? Are you judging me because I don't have ears, sir?
Calm down, Van Gogh.
There's going to be Rick, the other Rick, there's going to be a strongly worded Facebook post about this. Both know it.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right. If anyone has any more, shout them out. Let's.
I do. Since he was already brought up, Pignone was already mentioned. Let's do the violate consent, people.
Yes, cosplay.
Oh,
also
absolutely.
And I don't mean just the Harvey Weinstein of the wishes of anybody who may not want to be photographed. Understand, believe me, as a photographer, I understand that when you buy that ticket at almost every city is in your terms of service that you say photographs will be taken. I understand that. There's nothing I knew about it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't still, if you want to picture somebody, ask them.
Yes, that's a big one, yes.
I ask every single time.
Yep, and good you never touch anybody. Even if you think you're just touching a cool costume. Cosplayers hate it when people touch their costumes without any estimate risk.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I have a story. My first convention, ConnectiCon 07.
I do.
No.
The area on the doll.
I'll show you guys later. My first Kineticon was 7. I didn't know what I was doing. It was the first. I'm just randomly taking pictures. Took a picture of a Yu-Gi-Oh group coming at me. I took it and it was, hey, you need to ask before you take a picture. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. That's my first convention. Sorry.
There you go. Good way to learn. Our successes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the person who
Yeah, totally.
was nicer about it, but it was something that needed to be learned.
You're right.
Ron, I like that. Like you go to some respect. They're like cosplay celebrities. Dude. It's like
Cosplay.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, cosplay. That's a whole other topic. Ugh.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Did you bucks?
Oh, totally. Feet pics. Can I see your feet?
Now we got man cleavage.
Show her feet when playing games. Yeet.
I was going to say, the other kind of consent, I'm getting details here, but there's a lot, there's this, as far as the other kind of consent, which is on the crowd trend, I won't get to detail about that. Basically, you need to make sure the single persons, if you're that lucky, all doing up to are cognizant enough of the environment.
Yep.
For not a whole lot of shit on. So I say thing to engage with is doesn't really know what room they're in, or maybe you should stop.
Yeah.
The court's been absolutely 100% clear. If the ability to get consent is no longer there, consent can't happen. Period.
Oh, yeah,
Done.
there's a little bit of sarcasm involved in that. I mean, I totally agree with you, but I'm trying to inject a little bit of levity into something that really dead grim and dark.
What if they don't know there?
Well, that part?
What if they don't know? Just as non-cognitive.
I mean, you
supposed
say
to-
shit's happened.
That's what involves whoever wakes up and decides to prosecute wins.
Let me be clear. I'm all a no-go. This is all a no-go zone. You shouldn't get that point.
Here.
Don't drink Jägermeister.
Yeah.
I
You just
mean,
say, don't drink my responsibly. I don't know if it's possible.
Unless I make a drink with
I
it.
almost back in MagFest 2015, I almost missed the last Amtrak train out of DC tonight. I ended up taking a 32-ounce Nalgene bottle, drinking the whole thing, and then waking up like an hour and a half before the train was supposed to leave, and I had to get from the Gaylord to Union Station.
Our drive.
Yeah, that was the year the big snowstorm buses were getting canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like fun.
Final talking point, which is the thing we've been doing on the show for the past 3 years. Convince stories you want to tell. Reese, since you're kind of new, do you have any like interesting, scary, uplifting stories you want to share that you can? Just stories in general. That's what you call it.
Okay, well, first time I went to a con with a group. It was kind of messy because like there were problems that every so often or whatever. I was pretty much just like the middle person. I was like the distractor. I'm like, oh, the sky looks really big. Like I didn't really know there was conflict whatsoever. So I keep the peace between everybody. And then there was one point me and my friend got locked out of our room and showed up, and then they locked the door. So we were like banging on the door, and then we had to kick both of them out for the night.
Always fun.
Yeah. And that group kind of fell apart due to other reasons I will not recall. But probably the worst thing that's happened at a con, besides one of my skirts that kept popping apart because not stay secure, so I had to use like a bobby pin. I think this is as bad as it's gotten for me at a con so far.
You're young. It'll happen that way.
Yeah, I've had to stay prepared.
Rodney, what do you have?
See, man, I did all of my mostly stupid stuff decades ago when I was in college, so, I don't have those kind of horror stories. I mean, I've on occasion gotten a little too tipsy, but I don't think I've ever have a post-con really dumb horror story.
Go for it.
It was after GreenTeaHouse. I had been staying at the hotel at the con, and then was going to be spending a day, but I didn't want to spend Radisson back then, prices, so I just had a night at another hotel in Manchester, checked in, and my car was declined. So I'm like, well, I know that's not even possible based on my last few paychecks, so what's going on here? So I called the bank, and the bank said, oh yeah, we had to cancel your card. I'm like, what? Stuff. Why? Well, there was suspicious activity on it. Like, well, again, you should check. What was the activity? And I swear to God, somebody, $42.17 at a convenience store in South Korea. Okay, well, yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't, teleport from Manchester, New Hampshire to South Korea overnight. But then I had to find place to make it. They had to give me the authority to do it. I could only do it in 20 minutes. So take out $20, take it out, put the card in, do it again for as many times it would take me to get enough money for the room that then had to convince the hotel to let me pay in cash, which, of course, hotels don't do anymore.
And that's true. I have about that.
Most experience I ever had, because it was a great con, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm going to spend a day with a friend, and this is going to be, and then,
yeah,
wow.
That'll ruin.
Wow.
That'll ruin.
I had to walk to the nearest restaurant that had an ATM. Now we're up to 40. Oh.
Well, I got a lot of stuff. I've been doing security for cons for about 7 years. Swatted. I've almost been in massive fights in elevator lobbies. I've seen. Jeez. Let me start with something. So I remember. I'm at that same DEF CON where I bombed a talk. I had taken too many edibles, which legal in Nevada. And they were working on some hack box type thing, which is it is. Oh well, trying to move fast here. Have to kick in because we all took way too many of them. We're in the Mirage Casino. Everybody decides mutual down to the casino floor where we can smoke. And as we're walking down, that is when the edibles kick in. And right as we hit the elevator, a massive group of Japanese tourists meets us there. And people from different countries may use elevators differently. They like to cram in like sardines. Their friends end up getting jam-packed in the back of this elevator. We're all mutually having one big old panic attack. And we get down, and as we get onto the casino floor, because the elevator opens up right onto it, we just wall of Nickelback playing. Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh. And we start walking towards slots to an where we can all smoke a cigarette. It's right at that point that I realize in my very inebriated state that I hate Nickelback. And I stage 2 of panic attack where I just start chanting, make it stop, make it stop. And our sober friend standing right next to me opens up his Facebook and starts the live on and starts streaming me going, make it stop, make it stop. And I just saying make it stop until the song ended. That was just one of the worst ones. I can bring up a bad one.
Harry, go ahead.
All right. I don't really know, so know where to begin. Just I'll only go maybe one day. I'll go to the next day. And usually I go to ones that are pretty local. So there's one I went to pretty out of the way, and I was like, hey, you should get a spot for you. You don't have to worry about, paying, anything for the room. I said, all the time, yeah, no problem. I was, they were there from Thursday to Monday. And I just went there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And room, pretty much, I guess Thursday was just 3 of them. And they're like, oh, yeah, what's going on? And then Friday night rolls around. Next thing you know, I may even saying it's just going to be 4 people in the room, right? It's not going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20. Next thing you know, this is Henry, he's a friend of mine, okay. And his backpack. So, part of the contract was violated. Long story short, people just kept coming in. Just nonstop. And I drove home the next day. I did. I pretty much, I had my fun convention, horror story, really. One of the worst. That's why I tend to, go solo.
I'll around you with I'll be the next day.
We had fun, fuck off.
Yeah. Else?
Okay, I got a bad one.
Okay.
All right, let me worked Anime Boston. Okay, so
what year?
I started working Anime Boston in 2013. Right as I was also putting my people to know I for a short time I got out, and then I ended up being a security guard at Boston Children's Hospital for about a year. So what I was doing was not mall cop security. It was restraint patients and maybe overzealous parents, let's just say. So I was in some pretty terrorist situations, and that's Boston as long as I did. So 2013, or actually going at the Middle East nightclub, this was right before I went to the Army, and the guy who was running like the promotion part of things at the time, is a dude named Clay Fernald. Clay runs or used to run a podcast that was all things nerddom, and he did like an after party for Boston Comic Con. And after I bust tables doing security for the after party, and not a lot of people showed up. Chicks, they were underage cosplayers, they were professionals, and they were the big pull at this little after party because it was a Sunday, so it's not like it's going to be a 21 Sunday afternoon. And this one dude, cut Goku outfit, cool, smelled like, and you know, you could. I don't hate this guy.
Okay, it's Goku, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I understood right then and there that this dude is on a certain spectrum, and so I was trying to play after that. Maybe I didn't do too great at it because, you know, I didn't have the discipline I do now, which is I had next to none then, slightly better now. So, but eventually, do get a little too close to the professional cosplayers. And they got professional. You know, it's 2010, so they got like professional sport guards and everything and all that. And he's getting a little too close, a little too socially awkward with him. And eventually coming up to me and saying, "Hey, it's psycho. He's just really creepy and he smells really, really terrible." Eventually, I got to do him dirty. And at the time, I was pretty confident that I could do him dirty. So
He kicked your ass, didn't he? He kicked your ass, didn't he? Don't lie.
Checkers. Good to say, but anyway. So I say, "Hey, making certain people uncomfortable. You gotta go." And he goes from a 0 to 11. Starts shrieking and blah blah blah, and just getting more and more incoherent and louder. So I realized that I could just go away now. So I just say, "All right, I'm working out like constantly because I'm about to go into the office, Goku gi," and I just drag him up the stairs. This is in the Middle East downstairs, and I just dragged him up. Like, he's fighting me. There's a detailed cop out front thing. Me and him are friends, and my cousin was a Cambridge cop at the time, so I know I'm covered. And the Cambridge cops usually will throw you a little bit of leeway, especially if you work at the Middle East, just because of the kind of people you deal with. And I just dragged him up, pushed him out the door, closed the side door, and just heard him banging on it for about 10 minutes, and then he stopped. Fast forward to 2013. I'm out of the Army, and I'm working lot meet. Same dude, same haircut, same Goku costume. Walks by me. Nothing happens. I don't say anything, but I remember him almost perfectly spitting aim gobble.
That's funny.
And there's some other ones I had. It just completely blanked my mind. I think that'll wrap it up for us for this episode. Clothing. Go ahead.
I edited my opinion on the ad. Everybody's one.
Go ahead.
Bad idea to do a hard, full fuck you ban because of the fact that you're asking volunteers basically very, very, very real authority to demand that someone take off an article of clothing.
Can't do that.
Which, yeah, I get that, but basically, if you don't have, and a lot of the cons that are doing this are so. These are cons that do not have a clear, what's called an escalation that they can immediately go to. If this guy says after you say take it off, fuck you, no shit. So it makes it a situation where if things escalate to a bad place, that you are one freaking con volunteer away from losing your entire con. So yeah, I think with the thing and the more realistic thing would be, say, there's kids around. Or whatever.
Fair.
Because I agree.
Reasonable.
The whole meme, I come from the bad places in the internet. The meme was hentai sexuality in your face and make you react poorly to it. And the joke has since run its course. It's over. It's done.
Yeah. A lot of memes that happen shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, I still have one or two dickheads out there. They're like, "Oh, it's still funny."
Yeah.
and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But I personally handled well by the cons that are putting these ban con out on my side of the country, who announced that they were putting a full hard ban on them. And they were intentionally curating the comments of this announcement to make it sound like there was more ban than there actually was. The last time I checked, there were 379 comments for on the ban, and there were only like 56 actually visible. So that, and I don't like things like that.
Yeah. There's a certain con here that does stuff.
Exactly. There's a certain group for a certain bigger con that we're not. I mean, I did mention them earlier, but
Yeah.
So that was it. You can edit it in since earlier in the podcast.
Let's be fun. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just my bad being all ADD and shit.
It happens. Like me, I forgot how to end this, but I'll end it now. I'd like to thank you all for being on.
You can find me at fredcalber.com, editor-in-chief there. You can find me on Facebook as First Person Shooter. You can find me as Burl_Adopter. And all Nerd Caliber running the anime department this year. So if you want to cosplay studio, if you know where it is from previous shows, everybody has fun.
Cool. Reese, where can people find you? Okay.
Discord 96, and then my Snap at the moment is a little bit mixed, and little bit is spelled L-I. Post on Snapchat and Instagram, but I do post every once in a while. That's what it.
Mr. Glass, where can people find you?
So I run Project Sauron. We are all conventions and all attendees anywhere. We bump back at the bad guys, basically. You can see what we're up at Sauron. And you can catch up with me on Twitter at Rick Glassington.
Nice. Henry is somewhere, and we'll call you back when I need you.
Yeah, you can also find me on my email. No, I'm being serious. So I know me at Tell Me 36.
Are you?
No.
Not more? All right. If you want, you can find me on Twitter at DefaultRick. Follow the channel on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google Play Store, at SuperFancomShow. Email us at SuperFancomShow@gmail.com. I'm sure we allow a bunch of stuff. Feel free to tell us. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And just next time, I'll be joined by a cast of On Brain Entertainment as we do a deep dive this time into the year 1994 and talk about all the music, TV, pop culture, and of course, all. Thanks for listening. Welcome to Season 3. I'd like to thank all my guests again, and Henry for being on. Thank you for taking time to join me. Yes. Thank you for listening. Our listeners will take you out with Zeddy Wolf some good